Wait, did they really just destroy this awesome car just for a movie? I mean, what if the movie flops? Who would pay for the $1 million car if the profit was only $100? I mean, I'm not talking about Fast 9. You all hate it, of course, because family isn't everything. But what is fascinating though is how they were able to destroy those cars on set with no care at all. Yeah, it does look awesome, you gruesome maniac, but wouldn't it cost like $1 million?
$1 million.
They didn't just destroy a car on set. It's more like they made it to destroy it. It's called scoring, and more on that afterwards. But take a deep thought about how sad the car would be because it's supposed to be driven, not destroyed. What are you doing, Hollywood? Speaking of Hollywood, have you ever seen those Tamil movies where the car just like flips 1,000 times and nothing happens to it while the protagonist walks in all slow-mo and everything in front of the car? It's like they're doing the opposite of what's supposed to happen to make it seem like it. Anyways, I got off track there a little bit, but I just think it's so funny when it happens. So about the cars being destroyed in the movies, those cars are specially made to be RIP'd. It's a little sad, but I mean, who would want their birthday to be their death day? Yes, the cars aren't human and can't feel anything, but I feel for them, and you should too. You are a heartless person. Just kidding. Most action movies don't have the budget to destroy streets full of cars. I mean, really expensive cars. But filmmakers don't want to resort to using old, rusty, busted up, ugly looking cars. I mean, think of all the car movies where the protagonist hits a car and they're all rusty, busted up old Fiestas. That would be boring, right? So they make compromises to trick the audience into thinking these ultra expensive and rare cars are being wrecked. It's a pretty cool thought if you wish to be tricked and treated together at the same time. We all have dreamt of chasing cars as a kid, right? Like from the toy cars and mimic car crashes and made noises of like big and explosions and splashes. Please tell me I'm not the only one. I mean, I don't want to be flagged as a maniac. But anyway, there are many ways filmmakers fool you to get those fancy car accidents. When you talk about scoring, it's not about taking points in your baseball game, but it's a procedure for the car to make it easily destroyed. Just because a car looks fancy on the outside doesn't mean it harbors the standard production components on the inside. It's usually the pillars of the car that gets removed to make it a budget spider. No, I'm just kidding. They do it so that the roof of the car, when it gets hit, would crash into the body, which would make it look really, really cool. I mean, like way cooler than a regular car with regular pillars. A quick way to make a cheap car look nicer is to replace its exterior with a plastic shell that resembles a classic or a higher end model. They replace it with these plastic pillars just to make them look great. Or better, I guess. That's what you call an illusion, my friends. Just look at their hard work. Have you ever thought of that? No? Well, you should, because I didn't. Some independent companies will even build and sell bare bone frames that can be outfitted with shells, like kind of like a stock car. Another trick they bestow on us is something called swapping. What you see being driven around during a car chase or parked on the street might be a fancy real production car, but what gets wrecked or what explodes in a split second later might not be the same car as before. That's because they would make you see the Lamborghini in the race going 200 miles an hour, but just when it's about to crash, they replace it with a green Suzuki Desire. Then the CGI does its work, which is a lot to make this piece of junk look like a Lamborghini. But at least it saves the awesome car and the production company millions of dollars. Using the magic of editing and camera positioning, filmmakers can switch out the nice car for a similar looking but busted up one at just the right moment so you didn't notice the sleight of hand. And that's what they call magic. Another dirty trick up their sleeve is something called stripping. Hold on now, buddy. It's not what you're thinking. If filmmakers are committed to using a certain car on screen, or automotive sponsors want certain models to be featured, an affordable solution is to strip the vehicle of its most expensive components such as upholstering and technology features and use a lower end powertrain. You know, like strip the car of its most valuable features like the engine and everything else. Yeah, they take everything away from the car, even its soul, and leave it with nothing but its body.
Take his soul and make him die inside.
Yeah, it's all fun and games until the car wants its parts back and then they can't fit it in anymore. I mean, why would they do that anyway? I don't know. I asked them. Let's leave that part to those companies and move on to the digital damage of the cars. When they talk about D&D, no, they're definitely not talking about Dungeons and Dragons.
Art thou feeling it now, Mr. Krabs?
It's more of a digital and damaged car scheme. This is another case in which the real thing is briefly substituted for a fake. So the car then explodes, or in many cases, the hordes of cars destroyed in a cataclysmic disaster is just a computer-generated digital animation made to look like the real thing. This would give you the false illusion that the car isn't the car that you think it is, but the car you think it is not what it is. I'm pretty sure it makes no sense at all, but to them it does, and it works, I guess. Just because a car looks good on the outside doesn't mean it's pristine on the inside. Filmmakers can obtain vehicles that have received water damage, for example from auctions or junkyards, at a fraction of what they would normally buy a car in sellable condition. Interesting word, right? Yeah, well, let's all sell it down and give those guys a break. They do love destroying these things, but the work that goes into it is pretty amazing. You guys would remember the movie Gone in 60 Seconds, right? That movie was just a hell of a massacre for cars, wasn't it? The police cars were just piled up on each other, and all of them were destroyed in total of 104 cars. It's pretty crazy. But the crazy part is, they only paid $400 per piece, but back in 1974, that was a lot of money. Similarly, 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐞 crashed 132 cars in that movie. And let's not forget about Transformers. They made a whole lot of mess when they made that movie. They decided to kill off 532 cars in just one movie. And there were robots. Aren't robots supposed to be foolproof? I guess they made a fool of themselves trying to capture Earth. If it weren't for Optimus Prime, we would have been under the rule of Decepticons or whatever. It's always perplexing to see the lengths these people will go to get that brilliant shot in a minimal take. It's a solid industry. Unlike the poor vehicles that meet their fate this way, it's a relief that cars don't bend and crash as easy as Hollywood portrays them to be, but that doesn't mean we go out and test our airbags on our local highways and check if our A-pillars are worth the money. Just keep it cool, guys. Oh, and always keep in mind never to buy used cars from the Hollywood effects department. They might have a weakened roof or no engine at all. No matter how provoking the agent is, don't buy it. Trust me, I've been there. No, I haven't. Alright, see you later, alligator. But hold on. Before you go, let me know what I should put on the TV back here. Alright, peace.